This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Introduction. Students who manage their time well are more likely to cope with the stress associated with the increased academic and co-curricular demands of school life. As students scale the academic ladder, they will inevitably encounter increased workloads in line with their higher academic status. With this increased workload comes a degree of stress that, if not handled and dealt with, can seriously affect the overall health of a student. At the heart of the stress management strategy is effective time management. Through planning events to avoid last-minute rushes and clashes in activities, a student can reduce his or her chances of being stressed. The significant causes of stress among high school students. One of the causes of stress among high school students and college students is the difficulty in interacting with a completely new set of students and an even larger social group within the body of the learning institution. Whether a student is moving from junior high school to high school or from high school to college, he/she has to deal with an entirely new set of people. Shaffer et al. State that the pressure to conform to real or imagined new standards can be overwhelming for some students. This need to belong affects nearly all students and may lead some to be withdrawn and develop stress due to a perceived lack of belonging. As students try to establish a sort of balance between making friends and exploring the different social groups available at a new learning institution, the student's academic performance may suffer, and this will likely lead to conflicts with parents and teachers. Coping with a larger group of students and teachers, coupled with having to learn more complex academic materials, can be especially difficult for students who move to a new state or immigrant students who may have difficulties communicating with other students. Another source of stress for students in high schools and even colleges is the increased expectations from parents or guardians. Diaz identifies the pressure to pass exams as the most significant source of stress for high school students. Many high school students are especially easily angered and are generally unsocial during the week preceding significant exams. One major cause of stress related to exams is the high expectation placed on students to do well in examinations. This expectation is mostly from parents. The pressure and subsequent stress can be particularly intense in students enrolled in academic programs designed for gifted students, like the International Baccalaureate (IB) program. Students in these programs are expected to maintain high academic standards throughout a school term or semester, and this can be very stressful for them, especially since the expectation comes from both teachers and parents. Students who are sponsored by organizations and even well-wishers also experience more stress during exam periods since, most of the time, their sponsorship is pegged on maintaining a certain academic performance standard. The increased workload associated with a higher academic level is also a major source of stress for students. According to Xiaolin, Niebling, and Hechuan, many studies indicate an increase in stress levels for students as they move from one level of education to a higher one. This can primarily be attributed to the increased workload that the students have to cope with. Further, students may be engaged in many different activities in high school, and this may contribute to a workload increase that may prove hard to handle for the students. Many high school students actively engaged in a sport will have to work harder just to be at par with other students in their class who are not engaged in any sport or other time-demanding co-curricular activity. Reduced physical activity has been a significant factor in increased levels of stress among high school and college students. Spruage-Schmetz states that there is a direct connection between the stress levels of high school students and their level of physical activity. The students who are less physically active are more likely to have higher stress levels, and vice versa. Time management and its role in reducing stress. Effective time management is the best way of reducing or eliminating the stress associated with a general lack of planning among high school students. Hechuan and Yang state that one of the reasons that high school students experience academic-related stress is due to inadequate or inconsistent sleep patterns. Due to various engagements, students may find themselves sleeping irregularly or getting fewer sleep hours, which eventually harms their academic performance by affecting concentration in class. They recommend that students should plan their day effectively to ensure they get adequate, about 7 hours, sleep every night. Hechuan and Young also state that to avoid the stress associated with impending exams, students should prepare for the exams adequately by ensuring that they set aside study time every day, and this early preparation will ensure students are relaxed and confident as exams approach. Students should also plan by setting aside adequate time for doing and concluding homework every day. This ensures that the workload for each particular day is effectively dealt with and no work is carried forward to another day. The importance of ensuring that assignments for each particular day are completed is that it helps the students keep up with the class work, and this reduces the pressure of having to read substantial amounts of information, a source of stress, during exam periods due to failure to do said assignments. Another important stress-reducing activity that should be factored into a student's daily plans should be physical activity. Workload increase is inevitable, and intense reading and studying as one climbs the academic ladder is a norm rather than an exception. Therefore, to effectively deal with stress, students should be encouraged to relieve stress through engaging in physical activities, which have the added benefit of reinvigorating the body, and this makes the student feel fresh enough for further academic activities. Conclusion. As shown in the foregoing discussion, time management, planning activities to fit into a specific schedule is the best way of reducing stress levels among students. Through time management, students will be more likely to cope with the stresses associated with the increased academic and co-curricular demands of high school and college. Students who are keen on maintaining a certain high level of academic performance will strive to manage their time effectively to ensure that they engage in any institutional activity they desire without compromising their performance standards. Stress sets in only when the involved party fails to manage the available time effectively. This expository essay on time management and its effect on reducing stress among students was written and submitted by a student just like you. The Ivy Panda Samples database hosts thousands of works similar to this one, on various subjects. Visit ivypanda.com to find what you are looking for, free of charge.